Okay, anatomy fans, this is for 106 medical anatomy and physiology for Fortis College, and we're going over to chapter 26. This is week 6 stuff. This is reproductive systems. Now, I've done a couple other videos on reproductive stuff, and that should cover exactly the same thing, so we don't have to worry about it too much. You can watch those other videos in the playlist and go from there. Don't forget to subscribe and like, so I know that you've seen it, and that also helps me get a little bit better rating on some of these things, and hopefully they'll catch on. I don't know. Reproductive systems, remember there's two of them mainly. The reproduction, it's going to take a male and a female to get together to make another person. So listen to describe the structures and functions of the male and female reproductive system. Explain hormonal control. Oh, hormonal control. Yikes, there's a lot of them in there. We're going to have to look at the pituitary and some other places. Ovaries and testes for males. Key terms, there's a whole, yikes, there's a whole giant key term. Breasts, okay, is a mast or mammo are the root words for those. Cervix, that's the opening of the uterus. And then colostrum, oh, that's the first milk part that comes out after childbirth from the mother. It has a lot of nutrients and a lot of things in there. Epididymis is a part of the male reproductive system. Estrogen is a hormone. External genitals, well, that's the outside stuff. Fallopian tubes, salpingo is the root word for those, and you're going to see a salpingitis and stuff like that. Gonadotropins. Tropin means to develop or grow. Gonado is gonads. Gonads are the primary reproductive parts. That's going to be the testes in males and the ovaries in females. Okay, Graafian follicles, another part of lactation, milk letdown reflex because of oxytocin and pitocin, some other fun stuff. Mammary glands, some breast tissue again. Menopause, the end of menstruation. Menses is menstruation. Okay, milk letdown reflex, that's from pitocin. And stimulation after the baby's born of the nipple. When the baby latches on, that starts this whole cascade of hormone release for the mother. Ovarian follicles, ovaries, ova and ovum, scrotum for the male, semen, spermatogenesis, testes, testosterone, all kinds of cool stuff. Okay, male reproductive system. So this one starts right at the testes. And you can go through the other videos that I've done. I even did one for the terminology class where we kind of went through some of the explanation of those. So I'm not going to go through it too much, but I want to make sure you guys understand that the testes are the male gonads. Gonads are the primary reproductive organ. Everything else is considered an accessory. So like the epididymis, which is the next part off the testes, and the vas deferens, which is the tube that goes up back into the abdomen and out and meets at the prostate or the ejaculatory duct and all that kind of stuff just past the bladder. That's all accessory stuff. The seminal vesicles, same thing. The Cowper's glands, the same thing. Even the urethra and the penis itself are all accessories. We don't really, well, we need them, but they're not the primary. Okay, so we have here the vas deferens. We see, so the two oval testes are located outside of the abdominal cavity in a skin sac called this scrotum. The scrotum actually has a function, and the function is to make sure that the testes stay at a lower temperature, which is 3 degrees lower than the body temperature. And so what happens is the muscles can relax and let it hang further away from the body, cooling them, and then pull them up when it's too cold, right? So that's kind of one of those things that happens with those. Why Aristotle called the testicle the orchis. Well, orchis means is the olive shaped. It's the root of the olive of the orchid. Orchid is also the flower. So a flower is just the genitals of a plant. That's all it really is. So we see those in here. Other terms, we just went over them. The epididymis. So epididymis is right as after the pituitary releases a thing called follicle stimulating hormone, which tells the testes to make more testosterone and to make the sperm cells themselves. Now those sperm cells go to the epididymis, which is right next to, it's kind of a spongy teardrop shaped kind of piece of tissue next to the testes, and it holds onto the semen, the sperm, actually, not the semen. We haven't made that yet. The sperm cells, and they mature there and get ready to go. Now, as they go up through the vas deferens, which is the spermatic cord, sometimes they'll call it, they will then meet other places where they receive basically supplies. You can have seminal vesicles in the prostate, give them things like glucose or fructose and some other enzymes and some other fun stuff to help keep everything going. Okay, so location, 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 cryptorganism. So crypto as in a crypt, it's hidden away, it's lost. So babies' testes descend in a male at about 9 months. We all start off as females, and then eventually those little pieces of tissue embryologically move down through a function called the Wolffian duct with males, and eventually stop and stay as females, or they keep going and end up as males. Now the testes don't descend till about 9 months. Oh, excuse me. Till about 9 months of age for the baby. And if it's after that, they can do surgical interventions and stuff like that. Testes are 250 small lobules of the testes, the Leydig cells, and seminiferous tubules, sperm cells. So sperm cells and spermatogenesis, creation of sperm cells, that's what that means, is a big process. You can genital ducts. Genital ducts, good. Vas deferens and ejaculatory ducts, urethra. Okay, so the difference between the male and the female urethra is the female urethra is about 1.5 inches long, maybe an inch, 1.5 inches, and the male's is much longer than that because it includes the external parts of the penis. Okay, females don't have those. If you watch Kindergarten Cop, you'll find out what exactly that is, which was with like Arnold Schwarzenegger or something like that. Semen is a mixture of sperm cells and the secretions of the other glands on the way out. Okay, that's the actual semen. External genitalia, you get figures and all the drawings and all that fun stuff. Male sexual response. This is a really good chapter. I like the way this one's set up. It's kind of easy to read. You can at least look through those. It talks to... Yeah. I did a big hike this morning at like 4 degrees. And I'm tired, so I'm going to keep going on these. Male hormones. Let's see what do we got here. Androgens. Okay, not sure we talked about this, but like android. Okay, that's not a phone. This is a phone, but the android means male or man. Okay, so is it like you would say an andrologist? Maybe is it someone who does man problems? We don't have those. We usually go to proctologists. No, that's for the butt, right? Proctology. We go for urologists because we want to check the prostate and the bladder and urethra and all that jazz. Primary and secondary sexual characteristics. Primary ones are obviously the testes, the penis. Remember, gonads. Gonads are the primary reproductive organs, and that's going to be the testes in the male and the ovaries in the female, and everything else is accessory. Okay. Hormonal control, we do have luteinizing hormone, FSH. You're going to see this in female a lot more. So the hypothalamus, way up in the brain, gets things started. It has a hypothalamus, usually like some kind of releasing hormone. It tells the pituitary to release follicle stimulating hormone, which stimulates the follicles to do something. And then luteinizing hormones means they open up and make their stuff happen. Then you have testosterone and sperm production from the testes. If you don't have testes, you don't make testosterone. Although you do have some testosterone made in other parts of the body. Females have testosterone too, just in different levels. Like males have more testosterone related to estrogen, hopefully, and females the opposite. Now you can get this kind of thing going on, and that depends on many functions: what we eat, how we react, how we act, how much activity we do, and even how we think can actually make challenges in those situations. Egg development. Hey, female reproductive system produces the egg, secretes hormones and nutrients, and nurtures and protects the developing fetus during the 9 months of pregnancy. 9-month parasite is what that is. Egg development, ovarian cycle. Oh, the ovaries, remember those are the gonads. Ovulation is the release of the egg. Now, if it's fertilized in the process, then it implants, hopefully in the uterus, in the endometrium, and then it develops into an embryo and a fetus. Okay, embryo first, fetus later. Estrogens, talks about that. Progesterone, very good. This is really good. It's very concise. I like your guys' chapter better than the terminology chapter. I wish you guys could get a hold of that if you were in terminology class. Tube troubles. Ectopic pregnancy is a pregnancy that occurs outside of the uterus. They're bad. You don't want to have those. An abnormal site. Uterus or womb, also called hysteris. So hysterectomy is taking out of the uterus and the fallopian tubes and the ovaries. Usually that's a complete hysterectomy. Hysterectomy, like hysterical. That's where the word comes from. Because they used to think that women were just hysterical and crazy. Not hysterical funny, but hysterical crazy. As in the word lunatic, which comes from the word moon, which is, I don't know why the moon's that way. Maybe it's over there. But the moon makes people crazy. Everybody who works in healthcare, you guys too, eventually are going to be like, wow, it's a full moon. Never say it's full moon, or never say, hey, it's really slow today, because you're going to get in trouble. That's one of the few things in sciences we have for superstition. Now there's some other ones, of course, but that's kind of a main one. It's kind of funny. Funny, not funny, because as soon as you say it's not, there's nothing going on, or it's so boring, that's when all heck breaks loose. Okay, cervix, myometrium. The uterus itself, okay, is a pear-shaped, upside down, right? Pear-shaped or avocado-shaped kind of thing. And where the pit is, that's the internal workings of it. And then the inside lining is the endometrium. And then the myometrium, whenever you see myo, that means muscle. And then the perimetrium around the outside. Oh, wow. Okay, so it's actually here. So the do you know, this is really cool, what Plato hysteria and the concept of the wandering womb. So Plato, this is a great philosopher we have from Greek times, right? Believed that the womb or uterus, if unused for a long period of time, became indignant. This indignant womb then wandered around the body, inhibiting the body's spirit and causing disease. According to the male thinkers of the day, a woman was also thoroughly controlled by her wandering womb, and she was considered irrational and prone to emotional outbursts and fits of hysteria. This belief was the reason that the womb was named the hysteria. The term persisted, and it still is today. That's kind of funny. I love that has a history lesson in it. That's pretty cool. What are the spots in the outer surface of the organ? What? Spots were endometrial. Oh, endometrial tissue. Huh. Okay. Endometriosis. Endometrium in the wrong place is a condition of the endometrium. The vagina is a 4-inch muscular tube that it has a kind of a potential space it can open and change and stuff like that. Okay, there's some really cool did you know ones in here. I love that stuff. External genitals, male and female sexual response. It's so funny, like they talk about like erection, emission, ejaculation, and then what's the term? There's a term for like when everything else is inhibited and you can't do anything anymore. And they don't really talk the same way about that with females for some reason. Now there is the same thing. We have males and females both have the same kinds of tissues. They have the glands of the penis, for example, is the same kind of tissue as the clitoris. The prepuce, which is the foreskin of the male, is the hood of the clitoris. The labia minora and labia majora are also parts. You can see the labia minora on the head of the penis, if it was, and then you can see the majora, which is the outer edges. That's actually the scrotum. So it all happens the same thing. Basically, I think what happens is as we're developing, the prostate was just the remnants of what was going to be the uterus. It's a muscular contractile gland. Okay, and then there's other glands and all this jazz in there that were the same thing originally, and they just had to be refined down to when they became male or female. They're called homologs, so one is the other, and I don't think it even talks about that, but it has their Mons pubis used to be called Mons Veneris, which is the mountain of Venus, the goddess of love, and the Mons pubis is the mountain for the pubic bone, right above the pubic bone. Males have them too. I don't know why they ever show that now. The obstetric perineum. The perineum is the place between those two places, before the digestive outlet, the anus, and the genitals, basically a urogenital area. There's a space in between there, and they've somehow, it's been discovered that that's decreasing in size over many generations. Nobody knows why. So here you got hormones. Oh, very good. Reproductive cycles, ovarian cycle, luteal phase, and they're my favorite. Not really. Figure 26.6 is my most unfavorite chart, because it's just like it's been hammered in so many times, and it just doesn't make sense because the beginning of it seems not where it should be, and it's just very confusing. Of course, you know, I don't have to worry about it too much because I'm a guy. I mean, I understand it, but you know, you go through, there's different parts in there. Many times later on, you would be asked about those, but you have to know things like progesterone, estrogen, luteinizing hormone, follicular stimulating hormone, and those kind of things. 2 phases it'll talk about in there. You can look back at that. Menarche. Menarche is the very first of the periods that a girl will have, and then menses are the continual ones, and then menopause. Now, one of the things that happens is you're born with like 400,000 eggs, and then as you start to grow, they're pared down and reabsorbed, and you only have about 40,000. Then you only use about 400, I think it is, over the lifetime. And you know, I mean, you're not going to have 400 kids probably, but you know, you have the option to have 400 possible pregnancies. Now, you can't have 400 pregnancies because 400 times 9 is what, 3,600 months. That's forever. You can't do that because that's 9 months per pregnancy, and then you get pregnant. No, you can't even live that long. So what happens is you don't use them all. Okay, female breasts, mammary glands. This is really good. I like your book. I like this book anyway. I usually don't like them because they don't have any other interesting stuff in them. In the female, the puberty is marked by the menstrual bleeding as you age. We're about halfway through. This is really good. There's a lactation. It goes through a lot of the get the vocabulary down for the final, okay? Because we're gonna have a lot of vocabulary. I'm gonna do that in a different video for all y'all. Now, the other classes I did 2 different sections. So if you look at the playlist, you may be able to see terminology, male anatomy, and terminology, female anatomy. You can watch those. I mean, they're like 20-30 minutes long. It's a long time, but I do have other videos that are shorter, about 8 minutes, for male and female reproductive anatomy. And so I'll do drawings and stuff like that, and that can help you understand it. If you have all kinds of time, you're up in the middle of the night and have nothing else to watch, make sure you like them though. That helps them become higher up on the list for people who are looking up that kind of stuff, and hopefully they're useful. And don't forget to subscribe, and yada yada, all that stuff. And then on a side note too, as I'm going to go through this kind of thing here, when you're doing your discussion boards, make sure you're using complete sentences. Make sure you check your grammar, check your mechanics, check that stuff. Proper nouns, people's names should have a capital. Period at the end of the whole sentences, right? Of each sentence. A capital letter at the beginning of the sentences. Don't abbreviate words, okay? Especially don't do things like because and put CUZ. That you get points off for those, and we don't want to do that. We want to get as many points as we can, and some of the points are based just on the mechanics. Get them in on time, that's a couple points right there. If you don't, no big deal. Many times we're not even counting that. I don't even care about those because a lot of people are having problems, and we want to like give you a chance to catch up on those. Now, when you're doing case studies, make sure that you're downloading the page, completing it on the page if you can, okay? Or at least send me a doc file or a docx file or a PDF only. I don't take the JPEGs and all that other jazz because it's just, people are giving me all kinds of weird pages files, which I know are from Google, but I don't have Google linked to this stuff, and I can't open those up. And so it's a big pain. So you can convert them to a PDF, which is way better, and you'll get full points right away. Yay, you. Okay. Summary. Let's see. We talked about testes, male reproductive system. Those are the gonads, right? Or testicles. Okay. Testes is one, right? Lobules and seminiferous tubules, spermatogenesis. Okay, remember mitosis and meiosis. Meiosis is you get haploid, so you're taking your cells and you're splitting them into 2 parts, and you're not getting exact cells. You're getting half, and then one kind of fades away or becomes cells. What is it called? Sperm cells. And the female, it fades away, and you end up with half of your genetic material. Now, what half? I don't know. I mean, you may have blue eyes in your history somewhere back there, and that might show up again. You know, tall, short, brown hair, curly hair, short hair, not short hair, curly hair, straight hair, darker skin, lighter skin, dimples, I don't know, color of eyes, those kind of things. External genitals, female ovaries, gonads, 14. Day 14 of the 28-day cycle is when ovulation occurs. And then female structures and male structures. Don't you match the male structures and the female structures? Ha! That's how you make babies. So we're going through these. Yeah, really good. So it has even some little like kind of test questions, which are probably going to take for the final, which I'm going to do a whole nother thing on that too. So don't forget to turn your stuff in. Go ahead and read those discussions, guys, because those that's like 25% of your grade. Read them, answer them. When you're answering them, full sentences. Give me 3 sentences. When you respond, please respond, because that's half of your points for that. And respond with 2 sentences. And those 2 sentences should have maybe something that the first person said or the person you're responding to said, and in your own words. Okay, that's a great way to get it done and show that you understand it. And we're trying to like increase the what's it called? The increase the conversation of those. So anyway, this is Dr. Sean over. Well, I'm at home. So for class, for anatomy, medical anatomy and physiology, which you guys are almost done with. And we're going to go over the next video, which I'll put in the announcements as soon as I can. I've got to edit this stuff, and then I got to render it, and then I got to load it up, and then stuff like that. So I'll have those done probably in the morning, which will be, I guess, Sunday, but whatever, and then go from there. Good luck. You guys are going to do this. I'm going to go over pretty detailed. I'm going to try to go detailed over the final for a preview review. Okay.